Welcome to Mimika TV. Get ready to break through barriers, fuel your faith, pursue your purpose, and market your message so you can impact the marketplace for God.
Hello, I'm Mimika Cooney and welcome to Mimika TV. I'm so glad to have a new guest on the show today, and she is somebody you're going to love too because we have similar accents. We are both from South Africa, so you are going to be inundated with South Africanisms today. I'm so excited to introduce you to Lyn Johnson. Her and her husband, Brett, have been living in the USA for 35 years, but she still has a bit of an accent. Lyn built a successful direct sales business and led a large team of women for 21 years. Her passion for people, team building, and providing meaningful work for those who wish to be self-employed gave her greatest joy. Lyn has been involved in her ministry called Repurposing Business and has been part of many teams that have traveled the different parts of the world to come alongside Christian business owners to help them repurpose their businesses for the kingdom of God. Lyn's passion for inspiring and equipping people to practice true hospitality led her to start Heart History. She loves encouraging others to have open hearts and open homes. Lyn has led week-long, life-changing Heart History experiences in Hawaii, South Africa, and to the south of France. Many students from around the world have been part of Lyn's At Home with Heart History online courses. So I am so excited to have you on the show. Welcome, Lyn.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm excited to chat with you as well.
So this is so exciting. Even though we're both from South Africa, we're both in the USA, one in Tennessee, one in Charlotte. But hey, the joys of technology, right, can bring us together.
That's right. Yeah.
So fabulous. And, Lyn and I are connected through a mutual friend. So it's amazing. Even as big as the world is still small because there's always somebody who knows someone, right?
I love those connections. Yeah, they're great.
Super fun. But you've got a very interesting and eclectic background. And I love the idea of you having infused like business with ministry and hospitality, because, as women as well, sometimes we can hard on ourselves for not being the best at everything at the same time. And I always say to people, you can be everything, but just not at the same time. So it's good to actually know, there are ways that you can do things that are, bring you joy and are business stroke ministry too. So I'm excited to hear about, what you've been doing and how you've been helping people. But start us off with your backstory. I'd love to know how you got started doing what you're doing today and where Lyn came from.
Oh, well, that's it's easy with your 30 to summarize it, but at my age, it takes a little bit longer. I started by being a teacher in South Africa and loved teaching. I think I was born a teacher. I have a twin sister and I used to prop her up and I was the teacher and she was the pupil. And so it started from then. And in a way, I guess that's been the theme of my life. It doesn't matter what it is. I love to learn something and then pass it on to others. So taught, and then Brett and I pastored a church in South Africa for 6 years. And then we came to California, to the San Francisco Bay Area for 1 year. And I thought, okay, I can do this for 1 year, packed up a 3-year-old and a 7-month-old and said goodbye to my family with lots of heartache and tears. And the 3 years turned into 30 years in the Bay Area. So long journey. But we realized that the need for the integration between work and faith was so important. And back in the day, before marketplace miracles were marketplace ministries were known, Brett and I started gathering people who were spending hours and hours in Silicon Valley, long hour jobs, to really encourage them to walk out their faith. And that sort of from there led to all sorts of other adventures.
Wow. So yeah, so fun. And that's what I love about when you walking with the Lord is that you kind of just pack your bag and go, okay, where are we going? And then you end up somewhere else. Like, yeah, as I said, I'm in the USA as a kid. I thought I would never leave South Africa, but here I am, 40 years later in another country, and it's been an adventure. So I love the idea of, and your wonderful husband was on the show as well. He was on the Mimika TV episode. We'll link that below as well. And what was so fun is like, I love how you are able to infuse, the dealing with business as well as keeping the faith involved. Because I think for the longest time, a lot of people think you've had to have it separate, but really we are the ministers, because we're in every day. We're meeting people at the store and in business, at the gym, at the school. It's like, how can we infuse that? But I know, speaking to a lot of people, is that especially the world that we've lived through, this 2020, we shall not speak of. A lot of us are just feeling like stuck. Like, say for instance, if we've like had this idea and we don't know where we want to go, and perhaps we haven't started a business, or maybe we gave up on a business, or maybe there's something brewing there. What would you say to those who possibly hearing this and thinking, I just feel like there's a lot of things swirling in my head and I don't know how to make sense of this? Like, with your experience, what advice would you give them?
Well, just going back to 2020 for a minute, for Brett and for me, actually, along with there obviously being stress and sadness and the same difficulty or similar difficulty that many of us walked through, being able to be stuck for such a long period of time encouraged us to launch things online that we actually hadn't had the time to do, because before that we were traveling all over the world, taking teams and working with business people in different parts of the world. And my heartistry, which is the hospitality ministry that I have, I was like, okay, I'm stuck here. I can't host anybody. In fact, we had Christmas and Thanksgiving totally on our own, the first time ever. Normally I have like 20 people around the table. So I was actually able to start my online classes, and did that sort of during the period of time when we were stuck at home. So I would say to people currently feeling stuck, I think that knowing that doing something can be scary, and it doesn't always feel easy to start with. I'm actually in the middle of launching something else right now. And I know the feeling of what it's like to actually just feel the nerves before starting something. So listening to your heart and knowing what are the things that you love to do, what are the things that where you feel concerned, or you see a need, or you something that makes you angry. I'm sure you've talked about what makes you sad, what makes you mad, what makes you glad, and learning to identify that, and then starting by actually taking the first step. So I was just thinking recently, I was listening to a beautiful worship minister playing, and I thought, I can't sing, I can't lead worship. I mean, I love to worship along with people. There are things that I can't do, but what can I do? What am I good at doing? What do I love to do? And that is an offering to God. And coming out of that, one looks for opportunities to see how can one serve others. And then it becomes a natural flow into a business.
I love that idea, because that's exactly what businesses are. It's finding a need and filling it, right? So if something, I love what you said, the sad, mad, and glad thing. If something annoys you, then you've got a better way of doing it. Then you can go out and fix it. Like I predict that there will be some app or some technological advancements in education. After all, so many parents have had to homeschool their kids without
great appreciation for teachers, right?
Realizing that this is a lot more hard work than I thought. So, and that's what I love the idea. And growing up in South Africa as well, we have like the saying, a boer maak 'n plan, because we just grew up with instability, which means a farmer makes a plan, that there's no guarantees for anything.
Yeah,
you've just got to pick up your pieces, move on to the next piece. Just keep trying and reiterating. And I think this is a theme that I've seen a lot of. And I think people are getting a little better at it now, because we've been forced to deal with things, is what I've heard, the concept of failure faith. I don't know if you've heard of this. Like, we've been so scared of failure. Now we're like, okay, I'm going to have the faith that I'm going to do this. Even if I fail, it's okay. I can get up and move again. What would you say about that?
Well, it's interesting that you mentioned that. I've just started a book this last week, and I don't have the name on top of my head because I've just begun it. But one of the stories, it talked about a young woman who was a very, very successful entrepreneur. And her dad used to ask their family a question every single week without fail. And that was, where did you fail this week? Because if they weren't actually failing at something, it meant they weren't trying something. It meant they weren't stretching. It meant they weren't actually reaching out and doing something. Not where did you succeed, but where did you fail? Because we can all succeed if we stay in our little safe place in the thing that we're used to doing. But are we willing to actually step out and fail at something? Because that's how we will try something if we're not afraid of doing that.
Definitely. And I think that's so important because and I remember I've heard that book as well. It's on the top of my head as well. I can't remember. I've heard that story where it shifts the thinking. Like instead of I want to avoid failure, I actually want to embrace it, because it's like anything. If you start a new skill, like I do figure skating, and I know if I'm scared of falling, I'm never going to learn anything. And it's like if you aren't afraid, if you allow the fear to stop you, you never will venture out. But it's amazing. It's like when you're a kid, you learn to ride a bicycle. At first you're scared, but once you get the hang of it, mom and dad take the training wheels off, and then you go out and ride. You don't even think about it anymore. You just know, right? It's like that. Your body knows, you know the alignment. So I think that is like a really good way of looking at things. And I love how you said with, even in the lockdown, it's like, okay, I'm not going to sit here and have a pity party. I'm going to just do something else. And wow, now I have time to do an online course. Isn't that fun?
And in the midst of that, I think it's so important to stress the fact that trying something new is always stretching and it's always uncomfortable. I'm about to launch a glamping business, a glamorous camping business. In fact, Brett and I slept in our new tent last night for the first time. I didn't actually get much sleep because I was hearing the birds and the rain on the roof of the tent. But we're just busy doing this, something totally, totally new. And while I've been sharing some of it on my social media, one of an ex-colleague of mine said, "Oh, I'm so jealous of you," actually used that word. And I felt like writing in capital letters across my Facebook page, although I don't do that. I avoid places where it's like, this is not the right platform for this. But don't envy an entrepreneur until you understand what they have gone through to actually build that business. Because people can look at the end result and go, "Oh, you're so lucky. You have a successful business. Oh, look how everything went so smoothly for you." They don't actually know what cost is involved in taking a risk, what cost is involved in pushing through. And even the last few days, I've said to myself, what on earth are you doing here, Lyn? And yet, if you have the certainty that it's something that you're meant to be doing, you can push past those moments where you go, what am I doing? What was I thinking? Because I believe there's always that season in the build out of a business. It's the initial idea and the excitement. Then you start the hard work. Then you go, what have I taken on? And only when you press through that and you start to see the results. Like this weekend, my first guests are coming to stay in our glamping campsite. I know when I get the feedback from them, there's going to be the joy after having gone through the struggle of pulling it off.
Exactly. And that's the thing, is it's always that fear of the uncertainty, but it's anything. If we look around, in any invention and every business, or any invention or any product we even use today, has been the birth of someone's idea that they've had to walk out. And I love what you said, as people look at it and say jealous or lucky. And that just annoys me, because there is no such thing as luck. You have to put in the effort. And it's like that whole overnight success. Just because they hear about the success, they don't know about the 25 years that went into building and reading and failing and trying and failing. So I think it's a great way to look at it and to think, if someone feels like that, I found in my coaching, often it's like, maybe we need to take an internal look at, why do I feel jealous? Is it because I feel like I have something within me that I'm not realizing, like untapped potential? Or maybe there's an idea burning inside me that we haven't taken action. And I love how you just like, okay, well, I've got this business. Well, let's just try this, launch a new business. And then who knows what could happen, because there's no, guarantees. I mean, we've come out of COVID, and a lot of the restrictions are lifting, which is great. But there's still a little bit of that uncertainty that everyone is unsure of. But what I'm excited about is the opportunities that are going to come. Being able to see like new businesses, like now, who would have thought you would have done that, right?
Well, it's the perfect time to actually have a tent because people are looking for vacations that they can do within the US, and ones where there's plenty of fresh air and where they can check themselves in and check themselves out. So actually, the timing, is good for this season. But I just want to step back, because I think that this is something that just to be able to share with people. And that's, I really believe that God speaks. God does speak. He speaks in a whisper. So often we have to actually tune our ear. But when he gives an idea, and this is something that God actually has put on your heart, it gives, at least for me, it has given me the confidence to push through. And so I think, just using this as an example, but I've had this in previous businesses that I've done, but the idea of doing a place just didn't leave me. It kept me awake at night. And all of this was a bit crazy because I actually broke my femur and my hip in November last year. And so I had to learn to walk. And I've been bedridden, and to actually think of doing a campsite on one's property when you can't even walk to the bathroom is a little bit crazy. But the thought didn't leave me. And so I started to ask God, is this from you? Because it's keeping me awake at night. And I've experienced this in the past with other entrepreneurial ideas. And so I got wonderful confirmation on just whispers of, yes, I was on the right track. And having a supportive husband, I was like, am I completely crazy, or should I do this? And he said, go for it. And I've actually made a lot of work for him. But I think going back to knowing that God knows us, loves us, and he wants to speak to us. And if you get that idea and it just stays there, don't toss it aside, but give it some thought, give it some space, and see what it grows into.
I love that. It keeps you awake at night, right? Because this is something like never goes away. It's never a loud shout. It's like this little idea. And then you hear something like, I'll hear a podcast and someone will mention a word, and it's just like my spirit goes, oh, that sounds interesting. And then you start, and me, I start overthinking everything. So I'm like, okay, God, I need some science. Okay, we're going to need to really confirm that this is something I need to do. And then slowly but surely, as we start to take a little step of faith, like read a book or listen to a podcast or make some sketches or write something down. Like the same thing with books, right? I've written, I'm busy writing number 9. And I know that the first
that's
one.
Amazing. Well done.
It's like having a baby. I always say writing a book, starting a business, and raising children are the same roller coaster rides, right? It's this whole idea of the seed idea, just like we're saying. And then you find out, oh, this is so wonderful. And you get excited. And then that you just think about the work that's involved. But I've realized I have a process now to where I do this. I can get past this overthinking and is it me or shouldn't I? Sometimes I just put it out there.
Yeah.
And see what bites. Like it's kind of fishing, right? Sometimes you don't know if people actually are interested in it. And even like I've started to almost pre-sell my stuff before I even create it. Yes. Because if nobody bites, there's no point in me creating something that there's not interest. So I think there's always a fine line. But even then, if it doesn't work and it falls flat, there's always a lesson, right?
Yes. Yeah. No, I think that it's excellent to actually trust the community around you and the people that are in your life and put an idea out there. And it can be scary. It's like, what are they going to think? But to actually put something out and see what type of feedback you get back again from that, and take it from there. And often something just emerges from doing it. I mean, when I started doing the direct sales business, was actually Creative Memories back in the day. It was a long, long time ago. But I heard an interview. I was like, this is amazing. I wrote to the company for information. They called me back. I signed up on the phone, and I did something I've never done before or since. I literally kangaroo hopped around my house with this incredible explosion of joy that happened. And after that, the work kept going, and there was lots to pull it off. But that responding to something. Now, some situations it's been like that. Others it's been where I've thought about it for a while. But there's a joy that comes in that initial idea. And I think that's like the jet fuel that helps your rocket take off. And then once you get it up into orbit, you put processes and other things into place. But if you've got that desire inside, just let that joy grow in your life. As you say, read books about it, talk about it, dream about it, stay up at night, sketch it out, because you need the fuel inside you to actually get something up and going.
Exactly. And as I said, I love ideas. I have more ideas than I have time to implement. And not all ideas are great ideas, but sometimes I find ideas lead to other things. Like, example, writing books. Like the first book I thought was going to be a memoir, because of course everyone wants to read my story. Not until someone told me, an editor says memoirs don't sell. So I had to start to pivot my thinking. Like, okay, what does sell? Then go back and do some research. What are those elements of my story that resonate with people, and start to figure it out. It's like, if you think about it, any invention, any product we see, they've had to do so many iterations of it before it was actually perfect. Even the simple light bulb, they said there's 1,000 tries before we get there. Yeah. So I just love the idea of just encouraging people that there is no guarantee for success. But what is guaranteed is effort. If you put in the effort, something will come out of it. But sometimes we don't know what. So I find that very exciting. And I love what you guys are doing in terms of, got so many ideas, which is the entrepreneurial, us South Africans are always got up to something. We'll put us in the middle of nowhere. We'll figure something out.
I think we have to.
Yeah, that's so amazing. Well, I so enjoyed this time together with you, Lyn, and I would really love everyone to learn more about you. But before that, would you be willing to pray for everyone who's listening? Because I'm sure they'd love the enthusiasm that you have, which would be awesome.
I would happily do that. Yeah. So, Father, I thank you so much that you care about us. You care about the ideas. You care about the passions we have in our hearts. You care about helping us overcome fears. And so I just want to pray a blessing on each person that has a desire to move forward, to have a greater impact in the world around them, that you would inspire them, encourage them, bring good teams around them, and give them hope for this new season, hope for the future, that they can fully step into the things that you have set out for them to do. I pray this blessing in Jesus' name. Amen.
Amen. Thanks for that. I love all the prayers, because I know everyone who, whether you on the treadmill, the carpool, or doing the dishes, it's always nice to hear this and to know that, we're encouraging and supporting you. But tell everybody, what's the best place they can connect with you online and find out all about your ministries and business and courses?
Yeah, so if you go to Heartistry, it's like heart, ISTRY.info. You'll see, and sign up for the newsletter. You'll see lots and lots of resources encouraging people how to open their hearts and homes. And I'll also be putting some more information about my glamping site at the moment. If you live anywhere in the Tennessee or in the South and want to come. But I'm also going to, God willing, in the not too distant future, take other trips to the south of France. So if you want to have a vacation in the chateau in the south of France, just sign up. And also repurposing.biz, B-I-Z. And that's where we have everything about just bringing your business and your ministry together.
If you've enjoyed what you've heard Lyn say today, make sure to share it with your friends. The more people who share it, the more people get to hear it, and the more people get encouraged. And also make sure to leave your comments. I read through everyone on every platform, so make sure you go and do that, especially on the blog at mimikacooney.com. I'd love to hear what your aha moments are, any inspiration. Did you get a business idea, or maybe you're excited about moving forward with something? Make sure to do that. And if you want more free resources that I only share with my newsletter community, go to mimikacooney.com and you can grab our free guides that we have there. So I am so excited. Thank you, Lyn, for spending your day with me, or your morning with me. It's been so great. And I definitely will be planning to come and visit you guys and take up a glamping, because this sounds fabulous.
Well, it was lovely being on your call. Thank you so much.
Anyway, until next time, everyone. Thank you. Bye. Are you ready to get unstuck? Come and join our coaching program, Unstick Your Mind and Unlock Explosive Growth. Sign up today at mimikacooney.com/unstick your mind.